Hi, I'm Robert. I come to you as an automobile enthusiast that has maintained, serviced, and repaired my own vehicles in excess of 30 years. I currently drive a car with over 230,000 miles on it, and I once had a car that had over 400,000 miles on it and ran very well. While you're watching the video, please watch a step or two ahead. Sometimes the current step is better explained in the next step or two. Also, like, share, subscribe. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you benefit from the information. Okay, this is a 2007 Nissan Versa. The air conditioner compressor is knocking. My neighbor wants me to just replace a compressor. The proper thing to do anytime you break a system open on an air conditioner is replace some kind of switch in the dryer as well. But we're just going to do the compressor and have it professionally serviced, and hopefully it'll still cool sufficiently and work proper. So here we go. These are the tools I use to get that compressor off. I used a 1/4 inch ratchet, 10 millimeter, and screwdriver to get the splash pan off the bottom. Then I used a 12 millimeter socket to get the compressor bolts off. There's 3 of them. I used a 13 millimeter to get the 2 bolts off the top, 3/8 inch ratchet. I used several extensions to reach down behind the alternator to get the bolts out of the top, the connectings off the top of the compressor. Used a 14 millimeter to get that serpentine belt loose, and I used that other box and wrench as a breaker bar. Then I used that screwdriver to get the clips off the splash pan. The compressor is up front, of course, down there under the alternator on the passenger side. First thing you need to do is get this serpentine belt off. So there's the tensioner there. I'm going to try to figure out how to get that tensioner loose to slip the belt off and go from there. I have the car up on ramps, so I'm going to go under it and remove the splash panel. When you come under the car, you'll see it's got bolts along the front edge of the splash pan. There are 4 bolts that go along the front of the splash pan, and then down each side of it there's 2 clips that you have to use a flat tip screwdriver to get out. So I'm going to remove those 4 bolts and those clips with those bolts are 10 millimeter. Okay, I got the splash pan off. When I look up from the bottom this way, I can pull the fender skirt over a little bit and see the serpentine belt tensioner. It looks like I'm gonna put a boxed in wrench on it to get it off. Okay, from down the bottom here, I got a 14 millimeter wrench on that serpentine belt. I'm gonna go ahead and put a cheater box in wrench on it. It seems like it's kind of easy to relieve the tension. Take the tension off of it and slip the belt off of this air conditioner compressor. This is how you put a cheater on the box in wrench. So I'm gonna go ahead and push the tension off of it toward the rear of the car and slip the belt off of this air conditioner compressor here. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is take the 2 bolts loose that go on top of the compressor and carry the refrigerant. They're 13 millimeter bolts. I'm going to have to hit them from up here up top, so I'm going to have to use a few extensions. And then I'm going to go down below and unplug the electrical wire from it. It unplugs better from down below than it does from up top. So I'm going to go ahead and pull those 2 bolts. Okay, looking at the replacement air conditioner compressor, there's 3 bolts that hold this in the car. 1 here, 1 here, and 1 in the back. So I'm going to go ahead and remove those bolts from the air conditioner compressor and pull it out of the car from the bottom. Okay, I pulled the lower 2 bolts out of the compressor from under the car and the upper compressor bolt from up top. Then I pulled the lines loose and lowered the compressor through the bottom of the car, and then I took the oil from the compressor and poured it into the replacement compressor. So now I'm going to go ahead and put it back in through the bottom side. Okay, you go back in with the compressor, you feed it through the bottom, and then I put the bottom two bolts in place, then the top bolt in place. I started all three of those bolts by hand. Now the bottom bolt that is on the driver's side has to be threaded through the compressor before you raise the compressor in place, because you can't get that bolt in after the compressor is up through there in place. So I threaded the bolt through the driver's side of the compressor before I slid it up in the hole. Now the top bolt closest to the alternator, I tightened that in from up top. Okay, I tightened the two lower bolts first, the mounting bolts, then I tightened the upper bolt. Then I set this forward line in place, hand started the bolt in it. Then I set that back line in place, hand started the nut on it. Then I tightened the nut on the forward connector, tightened the nut on the aft connector. I did inspect the seals that were on those lines and made sure they looked good. Be a good idea to replace those seals. Okay, I came down below and plugged in the compressor, made sure the bolts was tight, and then I put this serpentine belt on. Okay, I went on ahead and put those four 10mm bolts across the front of the splash pan, put the two clips in either side of it. Now I'm going to take the car over to get the air conditioner serviced. If you feel that this information was beneficial, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can also subscribe to my channel so that you can get notification of future videos that I post. Visit my channel. I have all types of do-it-yourself videos there. You can leave questions here and I'll try to respond to them as quick as possible. You can also visit my website at robertspinner.com. Thanks again for watching.